friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you how to get an apartment in the city of Dnipro. Let's get into it. Oh my days, I butchered that accent. Forget that, let's get on with it. Welcome ladies and gentlemen to the fourth video in the series Lost in Ukraine. Just to start off, I'm from Birmingham, so I can't really take the mick out of the Russian accent.
You should go to the black country, that's where it's real fun. They've got proper, like, Dudley. They should have talk like that. I got no neck and no future.
But we move. This video is going to be a nice, short and sweet, but information-dense video about sorting out your accommodation and rented apartments in Ukraine. I'm going to outline 6 or so key points about the entire process and then give you some information and detail about the local area so as you can make your own decision where to get your apartment or accommodation. Let's get into it. So let's look at a quick outline of the process, starting with obtaining your joining instructions from the agency you are with. These joining instructions usually contain estate agents' numbers and details that will help you once you get into Dnipro. But doing your research beforehand will save you a lot of headache when you come to start your academic years. The next part of the process is obviously landing in Dnipro, Ukraine, having a good wander around, enjoying the sights. This is usually about 7 to 10 days before term starts, so you can get to grips and acclimatize with the area really well. Once you've had a wander and acclimatized, you need to liaise with your estate agent or physically visit their office where your agency will have told you where it is and decide with them what you need in terms of an apartment, your wants and your price range, and then they'll have a look on the respective websites and their sources and find an option that suits your needs. Once you've found a couple of options, now it's time to visit them. And then, once you are satisfied this is the place for you, it's time to negotiate, and that is an important point because there is always an opportunity to take a few quid off the price. After negotiating, the keys are handed over to you. Bish bash bosh.
Bosh, like.
The place is yours. Make sure to keep an eye on the terms of your contract, how long it is, and any other things such as utilities and bills. So that's the general outline. Let's go a bit deeper. The agents and how they operate. Basically, the agents are your face-to-face liaise with the people that are renting you the apartments. Obviously, the majority of the people here speak Russian, Ukrainian, and these guys will be able to converse with them. And depending on the agency you are with and the estate agencies that are affiliated with them,
Why are you running?
they may even provide additional services like contract translation, etc., etc. But the general gist of how they operate is very easy. They use websites that are akin to websites like Rightmove or Zoopla and other places that you'll find rental accommodation, just like in the UK, but they use that for the Ukrainian equivalent. So theoretically, if you're good with Russian, you could do it yourself. And this is an important point because all these services that the agencies do come at a cost. They will expect some form of commission, which comes in the form of a percentage of your first rental payment. Usually around the 50 to 75% mark, but there are instances of where it can go higher. So as I've said, theoretically you could do it yourself, but there's an easier way which you could do it yourself. On Instagram, if you searched up Dnipro flats, Dnipro living, Dnipro rental, something along those lines, you'll find more people who do speak English that are renting out flats or accommodation. and then you can go through that way. Now we get on to the really important stuff, and this is navigational points of interest, because you guys really need to know what the area looks like on a map, because most of the times Google Maps might mess you around. So you need to learn to navigate the old-fashioned way by using points of reference. So let's quickly rattle off some of the big ones. Here in the center you can see two massive roadways. One is Pushkina Avenue and the next one is Yavornitska Avenue. You can see they run parallel to each other and run throughout the center. So if you ever get lost and you find yourself back on this road, all you have to do is walk in one specific direction and hey presto, you are back in the center. And these two roadways also have a major tram pathway, which I'll talk about later as well. Now for the more relevant landmarks. These are the ones that will determine most likely where you guys set up shop with your own apartments. By the way, any reference to the word apartment is kvartira in Russian. So let's start with the big one, the university itself. This campus is more important for the first and second years because this is where you guys will be having the majority of your lessons. And this is where the dean office is also located if you need to deal with any admin stuff. Next, the more important stuff for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth years are the university hospitals and affiliated buildings. So I'm going to list them off for you and they're going to be appearing somewhere over here. Like I've mentioned before, each one of these is very close to a navigational aid. So here on the map, you've got Pushkina Street Pediatrics Hospital, Mechnikov Internal Medicine and Radiology, Volodymyra Street, the City Emergency Hospital, where we have surgery and anesthesia, Soborna Square, where we have hygiene ecology and microbiology, and the furthest out is Titova Street, where we have pathophysiology and the pediatrics simulation room. If you want to view the transport networks in more detail around the areas that I've just mentioned, or in the city of Dnipro in general, you can use the app 2GIS and it will show you in real time where the buses, trams and trolley buses, where they all are. And this is very useful when you're actually on the ground in Dnipro and calculating the time it'll take you to get to someplace. So now we're going to look at the shopping malls, etc., where you guys are going to get your groceries, you know, amenities, miscellaneous stuff. And they're all going to be listed again on the left here. So let's go through them very quickly. Neo Plaza, a very good place to go and conveniently located on the end of the line of tram 1, where it turns around basically. Next we got Nagorka, part of the Gagarina area. Very good shopping mall and quite a common place for students to settle down. Epicenter is a massive shopping complex, and when I say massive, it's about the square footage of an Amazon warehouse. It's got everything that you would ever need. Problem is, it's quite far away from the center, more closer to the airport, if anything. I've already spoken about this, but in the center we've got the Passage Mall. This is where I would call the center of the city. And a very, very big landmark for all the students in the area. Opposite that, you've got Europe Mall and all of that general stuff in and around the square. A big landmark that you guys will not miss is the Most City, or Most City if you want to pronounce it that way, shopping centre. And this is akin to like Selfridges. A few more shopping malls, and these are way, way outside of the city centre, would be the Apollo shopping mall. This is out by Titova, so you guys are not completely adrift out there. And the Daffy shopping mall. Just to quickly touch on transport now, I've mentioned that there are trams that run along Yavornitska Street and Pushkina Street. Nagorka is the intersection for both of them. So if you're living around there, it's a very good idea because you've got both tram 1 and tram 5 that you can hop on and off. Obviously, you've got taxis in the form of Bolt, Uber, and the Ukrainian version Uklon patrolling the city. You can just jump in one of those. Very cheap to go on, but you know, I'd advise going on the tram because it's even cheaper. And here's the airport quite far out from the city. So now onto the common student housing areas. Obviously, as private renters, you can live wherever you want. So I'm only going to speak about the common student housing areas. So the first one, and this is by far the most expensive place to live, is Panorama. And this is a complex akin to something you might find in Dubai. Excellent safety, massive facilities, you get what you pay for, simple as. And it's also located right at the bottom of Yavornitska Street along transport lines. another big plus. Next one down is River Park. It's sort of a mildly downgraded version of Panorama. It has a lot of amenities, so the main problem I would find is it's only sort of bus accessible and taxi accessible. So it's quite cheap for that reason compared to Panorama, but I would think that the money that you do save living there, you would spend in terms of transportation costs. And the next area to live in would be the Gagarina Nagorka area. Very, very good in terms of next to Nagorka shopping center, accessible via tram 1 and tram 5 because it's on the intersection like I previously said, and the accommodation there tends to be quite cheap as well, but again, you get what you pay for there. But just another quick tip, don't be discouraged about what something looks on the outside. A lot of these places are refurbished and modernized, so you'd find yourself living in a place that is quite comfy in terms of the amenities that it has, and you'd find it to be a lot cheaper than the UK as well. Now let's move on to another key topic, price ranges, utilities, and contract negotiation. So the general term of contracts will be about 6 months, but the easy thing to do is once your contract expires, you just generally keep paying the rent unless you want to officially renew the contract with your landlord. Bills tend to be quite cheap here anyway because of the oil and gas price around here. And also be aware if you want your apartment to be electric only, as in have an electric induction hob or a gas hob, and obviously that will add to your gas and electric prices respectively. But the price range you can expect for apartments here would be an average of about £250 per month on the low end, and if you want to go up to the average high end, it would be about £500 a month. But again, you get what you pay for. Now, a preliminary point, and this is quite important, and it's about engaging with your landlord. Most of you guys will be fearful of the fact that you guys don't know any Russian. Easy way around that when negotiating with your landlord or just telling him about general stuff is you use Google Translate on WhatsApp, Viber, whatever, and whack it in there and he'll reply to you in that language. Google Translate it back to your original language. Bob's your uncle, you've sorted it. Another important point is always ask your landlord for a potential summer rent reduction, because if you don't plan on moving from the apartment the next year, it's no harm to ask. And just a final point now, and this is a little bonus point, this concerns the buying periods for rental flats. So the cheapest buying period by far would be around the April-March era. That's because everybody comes into Dnipro for the new academic year in September-August time. So naturally, if you look at supply and demand, there is less demand in March and April, so the price will go down. And that is all from me for now. Hopefully the video isn't too long, and hopefully I covered most of the detail in terms of apartment rental here, and I'll see you in the next one.